It looked like the Indiana Fever has lost another game due to Kelsey Mitchell. Guys, for this one here,
the Indiana Fever just lost back-to-back games against the Dallas Wings, 19-0 run, against the Washington Mystics, 18-7 to start the fourth quarter. Lost the lead, lost the game. We just lost back-to-back games against teams we had no business losing to, even without Kayla Clark.
The Indiana Fever are being sabotaged, but not by their opponents. The enemy is coming from inside their own huddle, from baffling decisions made on the sideline that are actively destroying their chances to win. They have a generational superstar in Kayla Clark, but all her talent means nothing when the team is programmed to self-destruct in the final seconds. And their latest collapse against the Washington Mystics wasn't just a loss, it was a full-blown crisis that has exposed a fatal flaw that could ruin their entire future.
Coaching versus the Mystics, her game plan was piss poor. It looked like a third grader probably writ her game plan out.
It all came to a head in a game they had absolutely no business losing. After a hard-fought battle against the Washington Mystics, the Indiana Fever had the ball, the momentum, and the chance to seal a crucial victory. The arena was buzzing, the seconds were ticking away, and the entire world was watching, expecting the ball to find its way to their rookie phenom for a storybook ending. Instead, the crowd watched in horror as a familiar nightmare played out in real time. The ball was inbounded to Kelsey Mitchell, who immediately lowered her head, ignored her teammates, and drove headfirst into a wall of defenders. She threw up a chaotic, contested shot that never had a chance. As the buzzer blared, the ball harmlessly clanked off the rim, and the Fever had lost. Again, in the most predictable way imaginable.
Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And so I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had before the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opposing attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay. But, we just have to adjust, and we need them. We've faced a lot of adversity. But we should be used to that by now.
But that single missed shot was merely the symptom of a much larger disease. The real failure occurred before the ball was even inbounded, and it all traces back to the sideline. In the most important possession of the game, head coach Christy Sides made a decision that left fans and analysts completely baffled. She designed a play that put the team's fate in the hands of a player with a long and well-documented history of failing in clutch moments. This wasn't just an unlucky break or a player making a bad read, it was a coaching choice that seemed to ignore years of evidence. For seasoned Fever fans, it was a moment of meaned deja vu. They had seen this movie before, and they knew the ending was going to be a tragedy. This wasn't a strategy to win, it was a stubborn refusal to learn from the past, and it's a pattern that is becoming impossible to defend.
Second quarter comes around. Slippage starts to start. We get up to a 13-point lead. Eventually it falls down. We end up 5 at the half. And that's not a bad half. Come out of the half in the dreaded third quarter, and we are flat. And I feel like in quarters like this, it just feels like we're slashing our own tires. Like we are stifling our own momentum at every...
What makes the decision so utterly infuriating is not just who took the shot, but who didn't. While Kelsey Mitchell was playing hero ball and charging into a triple team, other more reliable options were completely ignored. Proven sharpshooters like Lou Samuelson, a player brought to this team for the sole purpose of knocking down big shots under pressure, were positioned perfectly on the perimeter, waiting for a pass that never came. A simple screen, a quick pass, a clean look. That's the high percentage play that smart teams run to win games. Instead, the Fever got a wild, low percentage drive into traffic. It was the basketball equivalent of having a key to a door, but choosing to run headfirst into the wall next to it. The shocking lack of awareness, both from the player and the bench, sent a chilling message to the rest of the roster: your role doesn't matter when it counts.
Friend Carolyn Peck Bin And where has the Indiana Fever are a more dangerous team without Kayla Clark conversation gone? How come once the Indiana Fever suddenly stop that 5-game win streak, lose 3 of their last 4, how come Carolyn Peck has suddenly stopped showing up on TV? How come that narrative of the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Kayla Clark, why has that suddenly stopped?
As the final buzzer echoed through the arena, the cameras immediately found the one person everyone wanted to see, Kayla Clark, and her reaction told the entire story without her having to say a single word. The look on her face wasn't just disappointment, it was pure, unfiltered frustration. This was the expression of a rookie phenom, a player who has carried the weight of an entire league on her shoulders, realizing that her historic efforts are being thrown away by the same foolish mistakes over and over again. That single image of Clark's exasperation went viral for a reason. It was the physical manifestation of what every single fan was screaming at their television. It was the look of a winner trapped in a losing system, and it serves as a massive red flag for the future of the entire franchise.
To the Stephanie White press conference, we know this lady is allergic, flat out allergic to the word accountability. Stephanie White takes no accountability for anything. We are going to watch her pass the blame to everybody. I have not watched it yet. I'm going to see it with you guys.
This disastrous loss to the Mystics was not an isolated incident. It was simply the most glaring example of a deeply ingrained problem. For weeks, the Fever have been caught in a cycle of collapses. They look like a championship contending team for 3 quarters, moving the ball with precision, playing with energy, and letting their immense talent shine. But when the 4th quarter begins and the pressure intensifies, they completely unravel. The offense becomes stagnant and predictable. The defense becomes lazy and disorganized. They consistently build massive leads only to watch them evaporate in the final minutes. This isn't a fluke or a string of bad luck. It is a clear and undeniable pattern of a team that knows how to get ahead, but has absolutely no idea how to win, and that is a direct indictment of the leadership on the sidelines. Beyond the on-court chaos, you have to seriously question what this repeated failure does to the locker room. How does a player like Aaliyah Boston, who puts up dominant all-star numbers night after night, feel when she watches another winnable game get thrown away by a brain-dead play? How do the team's designated shooters feel when they spend the entire game spacing the floor, only to become invisible when it matters most? This is exactly how fractures form within a team. When players lose faith in their coach's ability to make the right call, the trust that holds a team together begins to erode. Whispers start, blame gets passed around, and the entire foundation of team chemistry can rot from the inside out. These aren't just losses in the standings, they are devastating blows to the morale and unity of the entire organization. The Indiana Fever were given a gift that few franchises ever receive. With the #1 pick, they drafted not just a great player, but a cultural phenomenon in Kayla Clark. She has given their team, and the entire league, unprecedented relevance. But that gift comes with a ticking clock. Superstars don't tolerate incompetence forever. Every game lost due to baffling coaching and poor execution isn't just a mark in the loss column, it's a day of a generational talent's career being wasted. The world is watching, and what they see is a franchise that seems incapable of getting out of its own way. The patience of a player like Clark is not infinite. If this pattern of self-destruction continues, her frustration will eventually turn into a desire to be somewhere else, somewhere she can actually win. But this begs a deeper question: why does the team keep defaulting to Kelsey Mitchell in these moments? She's a talented scorer and a longtime veteran of the team, but the evidence is overwhelming that she is not a closer. Her game is built on volume and rhythm, not on ice-cold efficiency when the defense is locked in. The decision to repeatedly give her the final shot feels less like a strategic choice and more like a misguided sense of loyalty. It's a coach refusing to make the tough but obvious decision, demoting a veteran from a role she has proven she can't handle. By sticking with Mitchell, the organization is choosing feelings over facts, and that sentimental loyalty is directly costing them games and alienating their new superstar. The fallout from this loss wasn't confined to the box score. The backlash was instant, global, and brutal. Social media exploded with clips of Clark's frustrated face, memes mocking the final play, and fans demanding accountability. The national sports media, which had been celebrating the Kayla Clark effect, has now pivoted to a much darker narrative. Is the Indiana Fever failing Kayla Clark? The honeymoon period is officially over. Every move the organization makes is now under an intense microscope. This level of public scrutiny creates a pressure cooker environment where every loss feels like a national embarrassment, and it puts the front office on notice. They can no longer hide behind rebuilding narratives. The world is watching, and they are demanding results now. Every loss like this does more than just hurt their playoff seeding. It chips away at the very foundation of the franchise's future. The rest of the league is watching. Potential free agents see a team that can't execute under pressure, and a coach who makes questionable late-game calls. Do they want to sign up for that? More importantly, these are the moments that build a superstar's reputation or break their spirit. By repeatedly putting Clark in a position to watch her team fail, they are planting seeds of doubt that could have long-term consequences. These are the losses a player remembers years down the line when it's time to decide where they want to spend the prime of their career. The Fever are not just fumbling a season, they are risking their entire future by proving they may not be the organization worthy of a once-in-a-generation talent. And let's not forget the other franchise, Cornerstone, being disrespected in this process. Aaliyah Boston. She is the reigning Rookie of the Year, the most consistent and reliable presence in their front court, and often their most efficient offensive weapon. For long stretches of the game, the Fever's offense is at its best when it runs through her in the post. She commands double teams, creates open looks for shooters, and gets high-percentage shots near the rim. Yet, in the most important moment of the game, she was treated like an afterthought, a bystander forced to watch the chaotic perimeter play unfold. This isn't just bad strategy, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of your own team's strengths. By freezing out Boston, the coaching staff isn't just ignoring one player, they are abandoning the very identity that makes them successful. Perhaps the most damning part of this entire fiasco is what happened after the game. When Christy Sides stepped to the podium for her press conference, she had a chance to take ownership, to admit fault, to say, "I made the wrong call and it's on me." Instead, the world got a masterclass in deflection and coach speak. Vague statements about needing to execute better and learning from the film were thrown around, but there was no real accountability. This is the root of the problem. If the person in charge refuses to admit a mistake, the team is doomed to repeat it. It sends a toxic message to the locker room that mediocrity is acceptable and that no one at the top is willing to take the blame for failure. This accountability void is why the pattern continues, and it's the clearest sign that the issues with this team run far deeper than a single bad play. In the end, the story of the Indiana Fever is becoming a tragic tale of wasted potential. All the pieces for a dynasty are on the board: the transcendent superstar, the dominant center, and the capable role players. But the blueprint being used to assemble them is fatally flawed. The team's biggest obstacle isn't their opponents. It's their own inability to perform when the lights are brightest. The franchise has been handed a golden opportunity, but they are fumbling it away with every inexplicable late-game collapse. The question is no longer if they have the talent to win. The question is whether the leadership in place has what it takes to stop sabotaging it before it's too late. Because if things don't change, and change fast, this golden era will be over before it ever truly began.